Catherine Lucille Moore was an American science fiction and fantasy writer, who most often used the pen name C.L.Moore. She was among the first women to write in either genre. Moore's work paved the way for many other female speculative fiction writers. She and her first husband, Henry Kuttner, were prolific co-authors under their own names and 3 pseudonyms. Biography. Early life. Moore was born on January 24, 1911 in Indianapolis, Indiana. She was chronically ill as a child and spent much of her time reading literature of the fantastic. She left college during the Great Depression to work as a secretary at the Fletcher Trust Company in Indianapolis. Writing career. Her first stories appeared in pulp magazines during the mid-1930s, including 2 significant series in Weird Tales, then edited by Farnsworth Wright. One features the rogue and adventurer Northwest Smith wandering through the solar system, the other features the swordswoman, warrior Jarell of Joiry, one of the first female protagonists in sword and sorcery fiction. Both series are sometimes named for the lead characters. One of the Northwest Smith stories, Nymph of Darkness, expurgated version, Weird Tales, was written in collaboration with Forrest J. Ackerman. The most famous Northwest Smith story is Shambleau, which was also Moore's first professional sale. It originally appeared in the November 1933 issue of Weird Tales, netting her $100, and later becoming a popular anthology reprint. Her most famous Jarell story is also the first one, Black God's Kiss, which was the cover story in the October 1934 issue of Weird Tales, subtitled The Weirdest Story Ever Told. Moore's early stories were notable for their emphasis on the senses and emotions, which was unusual in genre fiction at the time. Moore's work also appeared in Astounding Science Fiction magazine throughout the 1940s. Several stories written for that magazine were later collected in her first published book, Judgment Night. One of the most remarkable was the novella No Woman Born, which went on to be included in more than 10 different science fiction anthologies, including the best of C.L. Moore. Included in that collection were Judgment Night, the lush rendering of a future galactic empire with a sober meditation on the nature of power and its inevitable loss, The Code, an homage to the classic Faust with modern theories and Lovecraftian dread, Promised Land, and Heir Apparent, both documenting the grim twisting that mankind must undergo in order to spread into the solar system, and Paradise Street, a futuristic take on the Old West conflict between lone hunter and wilderness-taming settlers. Marriage to Henry Kuttner and literary collaborations. Moore met Henry Kuttner, also a science fiction writer, in 1936 when he wrote her a fan letter under the impression that C.L. Moore was a man. They married in 1940 and thereafter wrote almost all of the stories in collaboration, under their own names and using the joint pseudonyms C. H. Liddell, Lawrence O'Donnell, and Louis Paget, most commonly the latter, a combination of the mother's maiden names. In this very prolific partnership they managed to combine Moore's style with Kuttner's more cerebral storytelling. The works include a classic Mimsy Were the Borogovs, the basis for the film The Last Mimsy, and Vintage Season, the basis for the film Timescape. They also collaborated on a story that combined Moore's signature characters, Northwest Smith and Jarell of Joiry, Quest of the Starstone. Career after Kuttner's death. After Kuttner's death in 1958, Moore continued teaching his writing course at the University of Southern California but wrote almost no fiction. She did write for a few television shows under her married name, but upon marrying Thomas Reggie in 1963, she ceased writing entirely. Moore was the author guest of honor at Kansas City, MO's Fantasy and Science Fiction Convention BYBCon 6, held over the U.S. Memorial Day weekend in May 1976. In 1981, Moore received 2 annual awards for her career in fantasy literature: the World Fantasy Award for Life Achievement, chosen by a panel of judges at the World Fantasy Convention, and a Gandalf Headmaster Award, chosen by vote of participants in the World Science Fiction Convention. Moore was an active member of the Tom and Terry Pinkard Science Fiction Literary Salon and a frequent contributor to literary discussions with the regular membership, including Robert Bloch, George Clayton Johnson, Larry Niven, Jerry Pournelle, Norman Spinrad, A. E. Van Vogt, and others, as well as many visiting writers and speakers. Later life: she developed Alzheimer's disease, but that was not obvious for several years. She had ceased to attend the meetings when she was nominated to be the first woman Grand Master of the Science Fiction Writers of America. The nomination was withdrawn at the request of her husband, Thomas Reggie, who said the award and ceremony would be at best confusing and likely upsetting to her, given the progress of her disease, that caused dismay among the former SFWA presidents, for she was a great favorite to receive the award. Moore died on April 4, 1987 at her home in Hollywood, California, after a long battle with Alzheimer's. Posthumous award. The Science Fiction and Fantasy Hall of Fame inducted Moore in 1998, its third class of 2 deceased and 2 living writers. Selected works: Earth's Last Citadel, Vintage Season, filmed in 1992 as Timescape. The Mask of Circe, Beyond Earth's Gates, Judgment Night, Shambleau and others. Northwest of Earth, No Boundaries, Doomsday Morning, Jarell of Joyery, Black God's Shadow, the 5 Jarell stories collected, the latter a limited edition with color plates, signed, numbered, and boxed. The Best of C.L.Moore, edited by Lester Del Rey, includes a biographical introduction by Del Rey, which is carefully non-committal about the influence of her personal life on her writing, and an autobiographical afterword by Moore. Black God's Kiss, the 5 Jarell stories collected. Northwest of Earth, The Complete Northwest Smith, the 13 Northwest Smith stories collected.